Jermain Franklin is our NBA guy. I'm not sure we've ever told him that, but consider himself served. Pascal Siakam scored 23 points. Scotty Barnes and Dennis Schroeder each had 17, and the Raptors never trailed in beating Detroit 142-113 Sunday at Scotiabank Arena. We'll talk some Raps and hoops with Jermain, who joins us now from Toronto. How you doing, Frankie?
Doing well, Rod. Doing well. And I couldn't agree more with your guys' assessment of the Grey Cup game last night. It was tremendous. And I have to admit, I'm one of the guys that never gave Montreal a chance from the beginning to the end, even when they got in the game after what they did to the Argonauts. And it was almost like it was the perfect disguise because their defense did it all against the Argos in the Eastern final. And then the offense came alive when they needed them most in the Grey Cup. It was unbelievable. It was outstanding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, thank you for that. And as a matter of fact, take us a little further into that if you don't mind, because that's why I say we need to take a couple days and just digest what went on here. All the storylines, the way the game went down. And from a TSN guy, I can't think of a more signature event for your network, save for maybe the World Juniors, than the Grey Cup. And I think the Grey Cup might even be more. Like, this is something you guys are so proud of.
Oh, it's our crown jewel. Absolutely. And like you said, the storylines, the fact that Sean Lemon was sitting on his couch for more than half the season and he still ends up with 13 sacks, a huge sack in the Grey Cup. Sankey, who comes in after winning an XFL title, and he comes back and he just continues to win again with the Alouettes. And you guys mentioned it, Cody Fajardo. I mean, when you play in, let's face it, Regina, the mecca of the CFL, and you get roasted. You do well, but you also get roasted, and then you're like, okay, well, you're thrown out. You're done. And then he comes back and he wins the championship with the Alouettes. It's just an incredible story. And good on him. He was so well-spoken last night. And the fact that that team came together the way that they did is pretty special as well. That is what movies are made of, really.
Yes.
Reality trumps fiction all the time. And this Alouettes team, the way that they were able to come together, trumps fiction 100 out of 100 times.
Yeah, who would believe the movie? You'd watch it and go, nah, that would never happen. No, it did at Tim Hortons Field on this Sunday night. So, Frankie, as I said, I don't follow the NBA as closely as I should, but I got my hands full with everything else. So just give me a little bit of a... When I saw the 142 points the Raptors scored, I'm like, that's got to be a typo. Are they that good, or the Pistons just that bad? And what happened yesterday? Yeah,
it's definitely a little bit of both. The Raptors are a good team. They're a good team, and you can see that they're starting to come together. Now, let's be honest. What is the definition of a good team? I guess, in my opinion, it's a team that could make the playoffs and possibly make the playoffs without having to be in the play-in, but a lot of things would have to go right for the Raptors. They set a franchise record for scoring points on home court, which is pretty special. And yes, the Pistons are not a good team. They're just playing bad. But the fact that they didn't play down to their opponent, you got to give them credit for that. And the one special thing, the one stat that you guys can keep in mind as you peek in on the Raptors or follow the Raptors, is the fact that they are distributing the ball. They are currently fourth in the league in assists per game, which is huge. Last year, they were in the mid-20s. I believe they were 23rd in the league. And they didn't have the talent. They still don't have the talent to have that isolation ball that they played a lot last year. And I think they're going to grow and be better for it moving forward.
Well, I got to check the schedule for when they come through Miami here, because I'll tell you what, you don't have to drive too far. You see Heat license plates, Heat gear. The Heat are a very big deal here and a very good team. And they're just expected to make a run every year. That's the kind of brand you want. That's the kind of franchise you want, right? Like the Heat, they're just expected to win every year. And they're usually in it in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. The Heat, yeah, when you think about Bam Adebayo, and it's just the fact that they continually Tyler Hero and their coaching staff is incredible. The foundation that they have with Eric Spoelstra and of course Pat Riley, it's a program that they continually just build off a solid foundation, and they are always there. Even though, like last year, they didn't necessarily have a great regular season, they knew they knew their worth. They knew how good they were, and they made noise again in the playoffs. I love going to Miami. I'll tell you that. Right? when they were in the finals for 3 or 4 straight years, the LeBron years. I mean, it was incredible, and Dwayne Wade, outstanding, and of course that's what they want to get back to. But that if you want to look at an organization as a model to always be relevant and to be competitive and to have a chance, the Miami Heat has definitely been that for the last decade and a half.
Yeah, well, last year, I got to tell you, with what the Panthers were doing and what the Heat were doing on the runs that they were on as 8th seeds, that like this place was coming down as a region, South Florida, and it was awesome to be part of that. And unfortunately, neither one could really finish it off. But let me ask you this: you spent so much time in Calgary. What do you identify as your team? Who are the teams that you follow the most, NHL and NBA, that their ups and downs affect you? Or maybe it's nobody, but who do you identify as your teams?
It's funny because it all has to do with geography. So I do definitely keep an eye on the Stamps and the Flames, just because I was there for so long. And now that I'm back in Toronto, it's been 3 years. It goes by like that. But of course, the Leafs are at the top. The Argos are at the top. The Raptors are right there. So now, because we're in the business, we can't really be super fans. But because that I'm on the desk and I'm not covering a team, I'm much more of a fan than I ever was for my 17 years in Calgary. So yeah, those are the teams I keep an eye on. You think about the NHL, Flames and Leafs, and it might be. Now it is probably Leafs a little more than Flames, probably because it's a little easier. And of course, it's the Argos and Stamps and the Raptors and the Blue Jays. So yeah. Getting back into the Toronto roots, clearly they're having an effect. Ontario, it's infecting me again, Rod.
Well, I didn't know it was 17 years, dude. I can see why you would have an affection for those Western Canadian franchises in Calgary for sure. But hey, here's hoping that one of those teams wins a championship before long. Raptors aside, who do you think wins the Stanley Cup first, Leafs or Flames? I think we got to say the Leafs, do we not?
We have to say the Leafs, absolutely. But they have to do it relatively soon. Looks like the Flames are ready to start that what's the right wording they use now? Maybe a retool instead, like a reset.
Yeah.
The whispers are coming up. The buzzards are flying because that blue line has a lot of good parts that would be great on other teams. So I would say the Leafs certainly have what it takes to win it a little quicker than the Flames. But let's face it, the Leafs blue line is not gonna get it done. Mark Giordano, who I adore, should not be a top 4 defenseman at 40 years old. I don't care what situation or scenario you're in. And he is playing his lights. He is lights out. Let's be clear. He is filling the role magnificently. But we're less than 20 games into the season. We can't expect him to be in that position for the rest of the year, and including a deep playoff run. So Brad Treliving, who is now with the Leafs, obviously has his work cut out to him because they gotta bolster that blue line. I don't know what the window is. It can't all happen this year, but they're talking about Willie. Willie needs to be re-signed. How are they going to do that and build the blue line? Something's got to give, and it'll be interesting to see how they explain what goes on when somebody actually doesn't get what they want.
Yeah, and Willie's earning what he's eventually going to get paid. And the thing with Giordano, you know him from Calgary, he's doing what Gio does. He's hitting, he's fighting, he's playing all the minutes, but he's old. I was watching the game the other day. They said he's the oldest non-goalie in the NHL. So as you say, they're asking him to do so much. Jermain, that's why I love having you on, because you get to talk more than when you're anchoring, right? To give a little analysis, and it's always so good. So I appreciate the time, man, and enjoy the sports. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Yeah, looking forward to the next time, Rod, and I appreciate it. Oh, quick apology, too. Missed last week. It was completely my fault. Clark was on the ball too much. I didn't look at my previous email, so I'm so glad that I was on this week, and this mustache probably will not be there the next time I'm on the show, which is probably a good thing as well.
November, yeah. I got you. Well, you can't escape us. We were going to get you no matter what. So thank you, Frankie. But thanks for saying it. Appreciate you. It's all good. Jermain Franklin's always good with us from TSN Sports Center.